Life is an adventure, and unfortunately, one person's adventure can become another person's nightmare. Outdoor survival techniques can literally make all the difference between simple danger and even death. Today's video will show you how to dramatically increase your chances of survival if you find yourself stranded or lost in the wilderness of this amazing planet. Where we share information about all the topics that interest people today. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and do so now. The sun beat down relentlessly. My tongue felt like sandpaper. The Moab desert stretched around me, vast and unforgiving. I was lost, desperately low on water, and fear gnawed at the edges of my mind. This wasn't some TV show, this was real. Days earlier, I'd set out on a solo trek, confident in my skills. But the desert is a harsh mistress. A wrong turn, a misplaced map, and the unforgiving landscape had me trapped. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the desert chill set in. I knew I had to act fast. Panic threatened to engulf me, but I fought it back. Years of survival training kicked in. I remembered the importance of staying calm, of assessing the situation clearly. Desperation could be as deadly as any predator. I needed a plan, and I needed it now. That night, under a canopy of stars, I made a promise to myself. I would survive. I would not let the desert win. This experience, as terrifying as it was, would become my teacher. The wild is unforgiving. It tests you, pushes you to your limits. But the greatest danger often isn't the elements, the wildlife, or even hunger or thirst. It's the fear that festers within, the panic that can paralyze you when you need to act most decisively. We've all felt it. That surge of adrenaline, the racing heartbeat, the cold sweat. It's your body's natural response to danger, the fight or flight instinct kicking in. But in a survival situation, uncontrolled fear can be your downfall. Remember this, panic leads to poor decision-making. It clouds your judgment, making you more likely to make mistakes that could cost you your life. The key is to acknowledge the fear, but not let it control you. Take deep breaths, focus on the present moment, and remind yourself that you have the skills and the strength to overcome this challenge. Mental resilience is just as important as any survival tool. Cultivate it. Train your mind to stay calm under pressure, to focus on solutions, not problems. Because when the going gets tough, it's your inner strength that will ultimately see you through. When faced with a survival situation, it's crucial to prioritize your actions. Remember the survival rule of threes. You can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in extreme conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Airway and breathing. This is always the first priority. Ensure your airway is clear and you can breathe freely. Shelter protection from the elements is critical. Exposure to cold, heat, wind, or rain can quickly sap your strength and lead to hypothermia. Water. Dehydration is a serious threat in the wild. Finding a source of clean water and knowing how to purify it is essential. Fire provides warmth, light, a way to cook food, and a psychological boost. Knowing how to start a fire in various conditions is a vital survival skill. Signaling, making yourself visible to potential rescuers, greatly increases your chances of being found. Food. While you can survive for a surprising amount of time without food, securing a source of sustenance will give you the energy you need to endure. Remember, these are just the basics. Survival is about adapting to your specific environment and circumstances. But by prioritizing these key elements, you'll give yourself the best chance of making it out alive. Water is the elixir of life, even more crucial than food in a survival scenario. Dehydration can cripple you, cloud your judgment, and ultimately lead to death. But nature often provides, if you know where to look. Follow animal trails. Animals often lead to water sources. Birds circling overhead, especially in the morning and evening, can be a good sign. Look for vegetation. Lush, green vegetation often indicates water nearby. Cottonwood trees, willows, and cattails are all good indicators. Follow the lay of the land. Water flows downhill, so search in valleys, ravines, and low-lying areas. Collecting rainwater is another option. Use a tarp, or even large leaves to create a makeshift collection system. Never drink water from a questionable source without purifying it first. Boiling is the most effective method, but you can also use water purification tablets or a portable filter. Remember, finding water should be a top priority in any survival situation. Stay hydrated, stay alert, and stay alive. Fire. The mere mention of it conjures images of warmth, light, and safety. In a survival situation, fire is more than just a comfort. It's a lifeline. It can mean the difference between a cold, miserable night and a chance to dry your clothes, purify water, and cook food. Building a fire in the wild is a skill that requires practice and patience. You'll need 3 key elements: tinder, kindling, and fuel. Tinder. This is the heart of your fire, the material that catches the spark. Look for dry, fluffy materials like birch bark, cottonwood fluff, or bird nests. Kindling. Once your tinder catches, you'll need kindling to build the flame. Small, dry twigs and branches work best. Fuel. This is what keeps your fire going strong. Gather larger pieces of wood, gradually increasing in size. There are various methods for starting a fire in the wild, from using a lighter or matches, always carry waterproof ones, to more primitive techniques like friction fire or a bow drill. Practice these skills before you need them. Your life may depend on it. The wilderness can be a harsh and unforgiving place. Exposure to the elements can sap your strength, leading to hypothermia or other life-threatening conditions. Building a shelter should be a top priority in any survival situation. Your shelter doesn't need to be elaborate. A simple lean-to, debris hut, or even a natural rock overhang can provide adequate protection from wind, rain, and sun. Look for natural shelters. Caves, rock overhangs, and fallen trees can offer immediate protection. Use what's available. Branches, leaves, bark, and even snow can be used to construct a shelter. Insulate yourself from the ground. Use leaves, pine needles, or extra clothing to create a barrier between your body and the cold ground. Remember, the best shelter is one that's dry, insulated, and protects you from the elements. Don't underestimate the importance of a good night's sleep. It can make all the difference in your ability to think clearly and make sound decisions. Being lost or injured in the wild is a terrifying experience. But remember, hope is not lost. Search and rescue teams are constantly on the lookout for missing persons. Your job is to make yourself as visible and audible as possible. Signal mirror. A signal mirror can reflect sunlight for miles, attracting attention from the air and ground. Whistle. The sound of a whistle carries farther than the human voice, especially in windy conditions. 3 blasts of a whistle is a universal distress signal. Fire and smoke. A bright fire with plenty of smoke is easily visible from a distance, especially at night. Ground-to-air signals. Use rocks, branches, or brightly colored clothing to create large, geometric shapes on the ground. The international distress signal is an X. Remember, the key to successful signaling is to be consistent and persistent. Don't give up hope. Keep signaling, and you increase your chances of being found. Food might not be the first priority in a survival situation, but it's certainly a crucial one. The human body can survive for weeks without food, but eventually, you'll need to replenish your energy stores. Foraging for edible plants is one option, but it requires knowledge and caution. Never eat anything you can't positively identify as safe. Trapping small game can be an effective way to secure a source of protein. Simple snares and traps can be constructed using natural materials. Fishing is another viable option if you're near a water source. A makeshift fishing rod can be fashioned from a branch, some line, and a hook. Remember, your goal is to conserve energy while maximizing your calorie intake. Don't waste precious energy on elaborate hunting techniques or pursuing large game. Focus on small, easy-to-catch food sources. Injuries and illnesses can happen anywhere, but they can be especially dangerous in the wilderness. Knowing basic first aid can mean the difference between a minor setback and a life-threatening situation. Always carry a well-stocked first aid kit and know how to use it. Your kit should include antiseptic wipes and antibiotic ointment, bandages, gauze pads, and medical tape, pain relievers and anti-inflammatory medication, antihistamines for allergic reactions, and water purification tablets or a filter. Knowing how to treat common wilderness injuries like cuts, burns, sprains, and fractures is essential. Familiarize yourself with basic first aid techniques before venturing into the wild. Preventing illness is just as important as treating injuries. Purify all water before drinking, cook food thoroughly, and practice good hygiene. Remember, your body is your most valuable tool in a survival situation. Take care of it. Getting lost is easier than you might think, especially in dense forests or featureless terrain. Knowing basic navigation skills can help you stay oriented and find your way back to safety. Always carry a map and compass, and know how to use them. Learn to orient yourself using the sun, stars, and natural landmarks. Pay attention to your surroundings. Note distinctive features, trail junctions, and changes in vegetation. Retrace your steps if necessary. If you're lost, stay put. It's easier for rescuers to find you if you're in one location. Remember, panic can lead to poor decision-making. If you find yourself lost, take a moment to assess your situation. stay calm, and use your navigation skills to find your way back. Survival is more than just knowing the right skills and having the right gear. It's about mental toughness, about digging deep within yourself and finding the will to keep going when everything in you screams for you to give up. Fear, doubt, and despair are natural reactions to a survival situation, but it's how you deal with these emotions that will determine your outcome. Focus on the positive. Dwelling on negative thoughts will only sap your strength. Focus on what you can control and celebrate small victories. Remember your loved ones. Use the thought of your family and friends as motivation to keep fighting. Never give up hope. The human spirit is incredibly resilient. As long as you're alive, there's a chance for rescue. Remember, your mind is your most powerful tool. Stay positive, stay focused, and never ever give up. Venturing into the wild is an exhilarating experience, but it's not without its risks. Proper preparation is key to ensuring your safety and enjoyment. Always carry the 10 essentials. Navigation tools like a map, compass, GPS, sun protection including sunglasses, sunscreen, and a hat. Insulation like extra clothing, a hat, and gloves. Illumination tools such as a headlamp, flashlight, and extra batteries. First aid supplies including a comprehensive first aid kit. Fire-making tools like a lighter, waterproof matches, and a fire starter. Repair kit and tools including a knife, multi-tool, and duct tape. Nutrition like extra food, energy bars, and trail mix. Hydration tools such as a water bottle, water filter, and purification tablets. And an emergency shelter like a tarp, bivy sack, or space blanket. But gear is only part of the equation. Knowledge and skills are equally important. Take wilderness survival courses, practice your skills regularly, and learn from experienced outdoors people. Remember, the wild is unpredictable. By being prepared, you're not only increasing your chances of survival, you're also gaining the confidence to enjoy the adventure. So enjoy the adventure that awaits you as you explore the world around you.